Call the Ware Board of Firewards Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 meeting to order, 6 p.m. And first item of business is old business.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. So the minutes weren't there, but I'm just going to go over some of the stuff that we went over last month, going through the video. We'll start out with personnel. Last month, Chief Olson had talked about the pinning ceremony that took place. You have to make correction. There was 2 lieutenants and 1 captain that were pinned. Lieutenant Charest, Lieutenant Meady, and Captain Hood were pinned the proper way. They a couple of them never had a pinning ceremony before, so we decided to do that for them, and it was nice having that done. Our open house was to take place on October 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. Public is definitely welcome to come there, and firefighter Noah Brent was in charge of that. He did a great job. Fire extinguisher training and seatbelt training was done at the bus company. They had to kind of shake it up a little bit and get some new different kinds of training in there. So we went down, the shift, and myself and the chief went down and had a little bit of fire extinguisher training and some seatbelt, how to cut seatbelts and stuff in the buses. And that went well also. The per diem program flyers that were made up went out to the hospitals and were pinned up in areas where we thought we might be able to attract some people to our per diem program to fill in the spots that we need to fill in. Chief Olson said his goodbyes at the end of the meeting last month. He is gone, and I've still talked to him almost on a daily basis, but still talk to him. And we have a bunch of our people, pretty much our entire staff, with the exception of myself and Captain Hood, are all in class at this time, taking various classes. Moving on to apparatus, ambulance 2 had to go up to DPW for an ABS light that was on. The utility 1 body, we're still awaiting that through Donovan. The new ambulance 1 is roughly 190 days out. We're still waiting for Hillsborough Ford for the bill for ambulance 1. They quote us $6,800. I have not heard anything. All our other apparatus is in good shape and is in service. Moving on to the fire station, 10 Scott Air Pack bottles to be ordered. The chief had asked you folks last month for your approval to go to the selectmen, because that had to be pulled out from a account that's under the selectmen and not under us. So, and the same thing with the emergency operation plan. The last plan that was done was in 1998, making it 25 years old. It's supposed to be done every 10 years. Again, that needed selectmen's approval. You folks said that was okay to do that. So I went to the selectmen with that. We received back our ISO rating, which was 9. After some back and forth on trying to get it and trying to find out where to find it and where to get it, that has been resolved, and so we do know what our ISO rating is now. Budget, CIP for the new engine was proposed to go up to $1 million versus the the 800, I don't have that figure correctly right in front of me, but 800,000, that was in the account, 850,000 that was in the account. So like I'll talk about more about CIP in a minute. And we talked about possibly removing the $95,000 for portables in the CIP for next year, if in fact our budget passes for this year, or this upcoming year. Personnel, okay, that's the end of that. New business? Any questions on old business before we move on to new business? And if I left something out for the old business, then by all means, tell me. Like I said, I went through the video and kind of just picked up the highlights of everything that we talked about, and those were the kind of things that we talked about
Everybody good?
in last month's new business.
Okay, new business.
Okay, new business, personnel. As I just said, most of our members will be finishing up their training in November and December. Lieutenant Charest has just started her paramedic class through New England EMS Institute in Manchester. It's part of Elliott Hospital. Her program is 16 months, 1,200 hours, and then she has to do roughly 350 hours hospital time and then 300 hours worth of ride time, which will be determined wherever she wants to do her ride time, whether it be AMR in Manchester or somewhere in there, to get her experience, a little bit of field experience with her medic. The open house was held on October 11th. The turnout was a little bit sparse. I certainly wish that it was better. But awesome job done by the employees of the fire department. Everyone pitched in, had a great time, I think, had some fun. The kids had a blackout maze that Lieutenant Charest and firefighter Cody LeMay made in the training room, and the kids went through that multiple times. And we had a couple live fire demonstrations on this year. It's cooking fire, kitchen safety. So we had some live demonstrations on what to do and what not to do in the kitchen. So that was good. And we also had the fire marshal's office with a sprinkler trailer down there. And we had a smokehouse and stuff. So, and some free food. So even though it was sparse, I look forward to doing it again next year. The police really were impressed how we put that on. They said that they would like to be more involved next year and maybe do a collaborative thing, both of us together. Maybe not on Fire Prevention Week, but maybe sometime earlier or whatever, you know. And we could change the time or whatever. I know it was 6 to 9 p.m. That was maybe a little hard for some people, but we'll look at that again in the future here. I went down to the New England Association of Chiefs Expo at Mohegan Sun. I did not gamble. I don't gamble. But for the day, I attended a couple classes down there. One was on lithium battery charging stations, and I specifically picked that one up because while we were at the bus company doing the fire extinguisher the training that we had over there, they advised that they are getting, I believe it's 8 electric buses that are coming into the town, and they're going to be installing a charging station, and the charging station is going to be next to their diesel tank that they have out there and stuff. So I figured it was time to at least start getting a little bit of training on that and get some familiarization with that also. The other class that I went through in the afternoon was on solar panel safety and how to effectively work around solar panels. A lot of houses now have the solar panels on the roof. And if we go to do any kind of roof operations with those on there, there are certain ways that you have to control all those systems so no one basically gets electrocuted while they're working on that. I talked to some of the vehicle manufacturers down on the floor. They had the floor open with all the exhibits and stuff, and trucks and stuff. And it's not good. It's not good. Most of the manufacturers, we had talked about the 500 and some odd days. Well, now they're talking minimum 28 months before you see a truck if you order it. So, it's getting longer and longer and longer from the time you order to the time you get it. I would like to in the future, I'm gonna be looking to send 2 people to become, state New Hampshire Fire Academy instructors. It was, actually just brought up, the Lieutenant Beatty brought up to me, the other day, that the state is now allowing, and Lieutenant, you can elaborate on this if I don't say enough about it. But the state is allowing you to, if you have a state of New Hampshire staff instructor, they're allowing you to hold your own firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 class at your station. Is that correct, Lieutenant?
Correct.
So that would negate the fact of, like, the lieutenant's case having to wait 2 years to try to get into a class because they're always full. This would also free up time that we would be able to kind of accommodate people. Back in the old days, we had classes and you went to class and it was maybe just on Saturday or something like that. This way here, we might be able to draw in some people that before couldn't do a schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday through Friday, or something like that. And it'll be right in town. I don't see that coming anytime like soon, but it's on the radar, and it'd be great to have at least a couple of our people trained to be able to do that. So, I'm gonna, hopefully in the future, probably the beginning of the year. Right now, everyone's tapped out and we just certainly don't have the money to do that. And I have I would ask the Firewards, approval, or that I could send an application to the selectmen, for the forest fire warden. As you know, Bob Richards is no longer with us, and he is the fire chief over in Deering. And I spoke to him today, and he is going to be all done at the end of the month. He is supposed to have a phone call into you. He said he was gonna call. But the application is there, and I'm just asking you guys, it has to be approved by the selectmen. So, and I guess that if the selectmen want somebody else, then they could put somebody else in that position. I'm just asking to do it because right now, for the past month, we've had nobody. There's no one there,
So, I think we should have a discussion and a vote on that, to make a recommendation to the selectmen. I understand that they're the ones that appoint.
exactly, yeah. Yep.
So I'll just start by saying that I think it's important for that position to be in the fire department and probably should rest with our fire chief. Because even though it's kind of a separate entity, if you will, pretty much everything operational wise comes from the fire department in the
Correct.
forest fire situation. And with the handling of permits and stuff like that, when people have complaints about permits and things like that, they're complaining about they think the fire department. Because the perspective is that it's under the fire.
It's under the fire department, correct.
So I think it is a good idea for whoever is our fire chief to be the forest fire warden. That's the way it is in most places, and that seems to work the best. So that's my opinion. Does anybody else have any questions or discussion?
I would agree. Right now, I just want to just add that, like, right now, we, the officers of the department, as it stands right now, all the officers are deputy wardens. And that would stay the same. That's not gonna change. And whoever takes over my position, they will become a deputy warden too. That way there, every day during the day, we have a deputy warden that's on duty there at the station that can answer questions or whatever.
How many hours per month do you think this will impact you?
Honestly, there has just been some talk about, meetings and stuff like that. So really the next meeting is actually coming up. It's in Milford. Chief Richards let me know that. If you could pass that down too, that'd be great. Thank you so much. So I'm really not sure. I can't imagine more than 8 hours a month, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I know there's one meeting a month that they have. When I talked to Chief Richards today, he said that he used to go to 2 different meetings because we're so close on the border. He's getting like 2 different perspectives of what's going on. I would say that I probably either tried to do that, but at least tried to go to the meeting that was in our region. So I would imagine that wouldn't be any more than, like I said, maybe probably 8 hours a month.
Okay, I was just curious.
I make a motion to have Mark Rourke put in his application on the selectmen for fire warden for the town of Ware.
Second. Any discussion or questions? Just so you know, we're discussing, we have an opening for fire warden for the town. The selectmen appoint the forest fire warden.
Okay,
So we're just,
I was just asking you guys your
thank you.
your blessing to.
Abstain.
so we're voting to make a recommendation, basically to the selectmen.
To give,
Okay?
makes sense.
Any other questions or? I did. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Myself.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. I just
Thank you,
wanted to
guys.
take care of that while we
Yep.
were.
Appreciate that.
Wanna go to apparatus?
Yep, moving on to apparatus. Ambulance 2 did go up to Highway Department to get the ABS sensors replaced in the rear axle. It ended up being evidently more of a job than normal. So the axles ended up, they couldn't get the sensors off. The axles had to be pulled from the rear end of the truck and everything else like that. But a huge thank you to Jason for getting that done quick and getting the vehicle back to the front line again. All our apparatus has been inspected and it's good for another year. Anything that had to be serviced has been serviced. Our on-spot chains have been removed through the process of when the vehicles are being inspected, and we're going to start going through those soon to get all the bearings and chains if we have anything to replace or whatever, so they could be put back on the truck for winter time, and we know that they're going to be in serviceable condition and be working. Budget dependent vehicles are still continue to be oil undercoated. In the past, we had a gentleman come down and do the entire fleet. We paid by the foot. So we just measured the truck and we paid by the foot, and he went and did pretty much all the vehicles in a day or a day and a half or whatever. he is no longer around to do that. So we are bringing the vehicles down to Mulholland, so we're keeping the business local. And, they have been oil undercoated, so they're gonna continue to go down, as the budget allows us to do that. They might end up being towards the end of the year, but at least they'll get undercoated before too much snow. A1, the ambulance is still running good, but as of 10/16, we still do not have a bill through Hillsborough Ford. I contacted them, and the gentleman who answered the phone said, she's working on it as we speak right now. And I still, they were supposed to get back to me by the end of the day, and that was, the other day, and there's nothing. I have heard nothing. I don't really know how to pursue that. I've never had to really chase anyone down to give me a bill. Believe me, they've always come to me quick. So I guess I could just keep calling and keep asking. My fear is that, that it goes unpaid, and then the beginning of the year, January 1st, I get a bill in the mail saying, $9,000 or whatever for the ambulance, and now that comes out of the new budget. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that the bill arrives before the end of the year, so I'll just stay on it, and I'll keep you guys abreast of what happens with that. I contacted Lifeline and Al Hooper the other day also, and I know Chief Olson had talked about, and in the minutes, it was around 190 days out, and that we were expected, but lo and behold, our new chassis has not arrived, quote unquote, yet at his facility in wherever his facility is. So I asked him, I said, when is the ambulance chassis supposed to arrive at your facility? And he stated that our chassis is there, so in other words, we have a chassis in line, but it has not yet been delivered to the place where they build the ambulances. And I said, well, when is it going to be delivered there? And he said it's slated to be delivered in February of 24. Okay? And then it's 210 days out from there. So theoretically, you're going to be looking at November of 2024 for a delivery of the ambulance. Now, I was in the room when Chief Olson called, and we were on a conference call with Mr. Hooper, and I guess it's all semantics, if you want to call it that when you said we have a chassis, yeah, we have a chassis, but we don't really have it yet at the facility. Okay? So I did a little bit of calling around, because I went on Lifeline's website today, and a whole bunch of ambulances have been delivered. Okay? So I randomly picked all throughout the country. I picked 3 or 4 places to call, and I said, hey, how long did it take you to get your ambulance? What was your wait time? And everything, because I'm just curious at this point, And they all backed up what he's saying. It took that long for them to get an ambulance. So a couple of the chiefs I talked to, one in particular, said that it is not uncommon now to, when you get an ambulance delivered, to turn around and order a chassis. Immediately order a chassis, because it's going to take 2.5 years to get the chassis before the ambulance, and then you're talking another the 210 days or longer to have the build time on it. So it's not, it doesn't appear anyways that, that like there's anything, crazy going on here with this, unfortunately. I would like to be nice to get the ambulance quicker, naturally. I don't think at this time it would be good to just say, well, because I had commented to Mr. Hooper, I said, well, the contract, basically, the prices, we're really not certain on the price either, because the price of everything has gone up, even to the point where if you order a new ambulance now, he throws in a contingency of $35,000 added on to the price of the ambulance, because the price of materials and everything else like that is fluctuating so much that they can't put a pinpoint on how much an ambulance is going to cost you, but it's roughly going to be in the $400,000 range is going to be what a new ambulance is going to run, the next new ambulance we buy. So I told him, I said, well, if the price isn't there, the delivery date's not there, really, what's the contract? I mean, it's worth probably what the paper it's written on, because it's so fluid right now. And he understands that. He apologized. There's a lot of things that are not in his control. He said even moving down the people who ordered chassis a year and a half ago, not that this affects us, but just to tell you, people who ordered chassis a year and a half ago, the whole strike that's happening now is affecting all of those people's deliveries, so all that stuff is getting pushed back. So it's kind of a mess out there, but I think at this point, we just hang with what we got, and we'll just keep running the ambulances and spreading out the mileage, or trying to put more mileage on that older Kodiak, and just go from there. Any questions on that I could possibly answer for you? I wish I had better news on that front, but I don't. And I actually reached out to Chief Olson, and I said, do you remember this conversation? And he said, yeah, and he couldn't believe it either, that's what was actually being told to me now. So at least him and I were kind of on the same page, that we believed what we heard was, we have the Ford chassis, we have it, meaning it's there at the facility and the body is being built for it. And that is not true as of now. It won't be until February. But in fact, we still will be receiving a 2023 chassis in February. So it's not gonna be 2024 chassis or anything. So the new utility body, I checked with Donovan again, and everything is on track with that, slated to be delivered in sometime in December. So delivered, painted, and probably by the time it's upfitted on the vehicle, on the pickup, the new pickup, we're probably going to be into, I would think, sometime in January or whatever, before that's fully outfitted and ready to go with a radio and everything else like that. Moving on to the fire station, I'm going to be looking into getting the vents cleaned at the fire station, the AC ducts and the heating ducts and the bathroom ducts and everything else like that. To my knowledge, that has never been done. And I could tell you, and the lieutenant could tell you, that when you wake up in the morning, you're hacking up a fur ball because of the vent system in there. The town is having the furnaces serviced, so we will be getting new filters and everything else like that put in, but still the ducts have never been cleaned. And possibly that may be grant funded through one of the, I forgot what you, or what someone said about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking into it.
Okay. So, and when they come and do that, that would be, I'm saying it for us, but it's gonna be for the whole building, right? So it'll be for the PD side too, and stuff, so that whole building gets cleaned at one time. At the selectmen's meeting, they were gracious enough to give us, or give me the permission to order the 10 SCBA bottles, through Fire Tech and Safety, $1,100 a piece, so it'll be, $11,000 total out of that account that we have for the special account for the SCBA's. So that's not coming out of our budget here, that's coming out of the other budget, and that's why it had to be through the selectmen. All of our out-of-date, non-serviceable equipment, has been sent to the White Farm, for auction. The auction's gonna be the 21st of October. So we had a couple of old porta tanks, a bunch of old forestry tools and stuff like that. Some old ground monitor, water monitors, some old suction hose, and, before that stuff went up, Jason from Highway came and took whatever he wanted to out of that for Highway Department to use. He took some 3-inch hose, which was great because I didn't have to unload it. So he took some 3-inch hose, 18 shovels I think he took, and some other stuff. So Highway Department got some needed equipment that they needed, and we got rid of it. So some of it stayed in the town and is being used up at Highway. And again, the rest of it went up there. And then after the auction results and whatever stuff gets sold for, that will be to the general fund. So we will not see it, but it'll go to general fund. I'll be talking with the officer soon. I had talked to Lieutenant Meady, briefly. Engine 1, up at South Sugar Hill Firehouse will start to be decommissioned, drained of the water and winterized. I'm not sure whether that vehicle will stay inside or if we will ask, Jason if we can have a spot of, down there where we could park that vehicle and use that space for other in-service equipment that we have up at South Sugar Hill.
So what do you plan on putting in that station?
Right now, possibly the forestry will go up there.
Okay,
The Dodge will come out of the center station and the forestry will go up there, and the building is heated and stuff. The forestry itself will be winterized naturally, after the fall and stuff. Usually after the first good snowfall we have, we'll winterize that and put RV antifreeze in the pump and drain everything and stuff. The vehicle will still be in service up there. But we thought that, that spot would be more useful than having the engine sitting up there when it's out of service, it's not going anywhere. So we're gonna be taking the equipment off it. Some of the equipment will come back to Central Station. Most of the equipment probably will, there's not a lot on there now, but, the rest of the stuff will stay up there on the shelves or whatever, so it'll be up there and out of the way, really. Lieutenant also is, moving on. Lieutenant is going to be, cleaning up our hot water heater that we have on the, that's a project I brought in that pump, by the way. Doing that so we could save a little bit of the money. We run some vinegar through that thing so we could get the get that up and running, so, because our water's getting increasingly less hot, and you have to run the water for like 10 minutes to get hot water out of it. And the last thing I have is, again, with the selectmen, when I was at the selectmen's meeting, they quasi-approved the emergency operation plan that's coming out of the emergency management budget. Again, not out of our budget, but out of emergency management. The company that was out there was $2,700 for them to do it. The selectmen wanted 3 quotes. I had contacted Captain Hood, who she had stated that when she started working on the project, she contacted the state of New Hampshire Emergency Management. Emergency Management gave her 3 names, and she contacted the 3 names. 2 of the people said, we don't even have the time to do it, so we're not even going to put a price on it. And the one person that she did reach out to that said yes, gave us the price of $2,700. I'm doing my due diligence, and I've reached out to those 2 companies again who originally said no and asked them for a quote. And I have not received anything back from either of those companies as of yet. But I just wanted to let you guys know that's what's going on with the selectmen. Any questions on new business? Anything that I went over? Questions, comments, concerns?
All right,
Okay.
we'll move on. So you're gonna do the budget and stuff in the fire chief's report?
Yep, if you would like, I could move right on to that.
We can do that.
Okay. All right, the budget. Well, the budget's tight. The report you have in front of you, 27.14 remaining as of the end of September, 9/30 of '23. Pretty much all spending has been stopped at the firehouse, unless we absolutely need something, and then it has to go through my office for approval to be spent. It's gonna be super tight this year. We have a lot of overtime, huge amount of overtime with everyone being in class. But again, the light's at the end of the tunnel with that, and we're really gonna be in a great spot come the beginning of the new year. I think everyone's gonna be taking a well-deserved break and be happy just to work their shift and be able to have their 3 days off and not be either mandated to work or have to come in and cover. So I had Beth, the next page you see there is a forecasted budget. So we do have forecasting everything out. And coming to right now, it's at 3.69%, so 43,271.38 is the amount we have remaining. She basically went out to the end of the year and put in pretty much some of the bigger accounts that we had as far as the required testing, the balance of the safety medical gear, and she figured out the payroll and our life insurance and all of that other stuff that we kind of need to have. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. We're going to make it by the skin of our teeth, but it's looking okay if we stay the course right now and nothing huge happens, that we have some kind of huge payout for any kind of equipment or unforeseen stuff. Calculating out the overtime and everything, even with that in there, we're still going to be coming out a little bit ahead. So I think that's going to be, we're going to be in the clear. if we keep the course that we're at. The next page is a summary of the vehicle, the cost of vehicles that went out for service. It was a little bit higher naturally in September, 1,092. We had some work done to both the ambulances and work done to, unfortunately, we had to do some work to the utility truck, to the pickup truck. But that's still in service, and that was, a lot of that stuff was inspection items that came up that were needed for inspection. So that's why it was that amount of money for that month. Again, we still don't have the ambulance one in there for the turbo. And the next page, I have to shout out to Beth, thank you. I had her do it in color so everyone could see it, and it wasn't just a black sheet of paper this time. So you guys, I'm not gonna go through everything on there, but you guys could see what the revenues are and what the balances are in that. Naturally, the capital, the bottom of on the first page there, the green line, the air pack replacement capital reserve. That there's going to be, that's where that $11,000 is coming out of. Okay, for the air packs, or for the bottles rather. I'm sorry, for the bottles. And the last page, I know we touched on it a little bit. But I would love to hear any questions, comments, concerns on the proposed 2024 budget. The numbers are there, and I just figured I would give you the sheet. I think you saw it last month. I think it was in last month. No, it was not. Okay, so I'm glad it's in this month then. So this will give you guys time to go over this, and by all means, you could ask any questions or anything like that. If you want to know why something has gone up dramatically, the overall increase is 4.22% over the default budget, which honestly, it equates to a little over $50,000, which I don't think is bad at all, because pretty much the budget that we have been working on that's been default all this time is a call department budget and not a full-time budget. I know the Chief Olson has said that in the past. And so a lot of the numbers have gone up, but again, I'm trying to build into the budget items that normally we would come. It eventually won't be with you guys. It'll be with the selectmen of the town. But instead of coming to the town and saying, I need $95,000 for portables, okay, the budget went up by $11,000 for buying radios, or the purchase of radios, because I hope to buy 2 radios a year. So it'll just be in the budget, and I'm not going to ask for $100,000 here, $200,000 for air packs or this or that. It'll all kind of be seamless and just in the budget as we go, and things will be replaced that way. A little slower, instead of getting everything at one time, but it's that way with radios, gear, 4 gas meters, so a lot of the stuff went up because of that. So you guys could take that, and by all means, if anyone has any questions or anything else like that, feel free to comment, stop by the station, call me. But that's all I got.
When does that budget have to be in?
We haven't set a schedule yet.
Okay, not right away then.
No, we just barely set the fuel price the other night, so we haven't started. We'll probably put out a schedule. We've always done it in November and December.
Okay, so we take it up next month? Is that-
Correct, yeah, and that's what I figured. You guys have a
Thank
month to
you.
look it over again.
Thank you
In
for the
mean-
time.
What's that?
Thank you for giving it to us
Yeah,
ahead of time.
yeah, and then that way there, even if you have a question during next week, by all means, call me or stop by the station, and I'll be more than happy to go over this stuff with you and explain where we came up with those figures.
Okay. Any questions or comments on any of the stuff that we just talked about?
I don't know if it goes on, doesn't really go on to this, but kind of in general speaking, as you know, the highway department's pretty short-staffed for this winter. They're down quite a few plow drivers. They're trying their best to get spots filled and contractors and everything, but that just kind of as a heads up, that may affect, response times and overtime, and if you're gonna hire, extra people to man the plow, so that way, I don't know if there's something that jointly as a town, as all department heads, or maybe something from you or just Jason or something saying, hey,
Right.
just letting everyone know, kind of giving them a little preparedness before all the knee-jerk phone calls come and Facebook posts and all that.
We do have, that's a great question, great statement. We do have again, the new utility would probably be coming into service sometime in January. Now, we still have the old utility, which has currently just got inspected and passed inspection. As you saw, there was some work that we had to put into that to keep it going. I would probably entertain keeping both of those, keeping that plow truck, even though the new plow truck or the new vehicle that we got is a quote-unquote replacement for the pickup. I would probably try to keep in the wake of having a possible problem with the highway department and the plow situation. We need to have the area plowed out, especially if we're going on a med call or even a fire call sometimes. We do chain up some of the apparatus, but some of the apparatus we don't. And on days where there has been storms in the past years, we have always hired extra storm coverage. Whether it be the people from the call force could come in and work, or the per diem people. We've hired extra people because someone will take and be in that plow truck and go out and plow in front of the ambulance, whether it be the person's driveway and then get out and shovel to make it safe for the ambulance crew, or even for that matter, even having a fire truck pull in there or something like that.
I just wanted to say that, so that way you kind of get a...
So yeah, and I'm not sure, when I talk to Jason, I'm not sure whether the town will take that plow truck, or if that's something the plow truck will end up at White Farm in the spring. Okay, so in the spring, we'll be done plowing and everything else like that. We can use that pickup more and keep the newer truck kind of closer to home per se, or you know what I'm saying, but or send someone out and plow cisterns, because I know we've done that in the past, and then we still have another truck to go on calls or whatever the case. So I would think utilizing both those trucks this winter would be a benefit. And then again, in the springtime, it'll be up to the town, whoever, if Jason wants a truck, I guess that's something he has to go through the selectmen with or whatever, but otherwise it'll probably end up at White Farm for auction.
Cool.
Anything else?
Anything else on chief's report? Okay. I didn't see any minutes posted from the September meeting, so, does anybody have any? That, okay. Manifest is the next one. So I'll make a motion that we accept the fire department's accounts payable manifest for checks dated October 19th, 2023, in the amount of $7,015.37.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Is there anything else that we have for business tonight? That's it for the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How many hot dogs you got left over there?